Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. I'm sitting in my car right now. I've never recorded a video in my car like this ever before, but we're trying it today. I don't even have anywhere to put my phone that really can record well at all, so we're just holding it. Sorry about that. Sorry about the quality, whatever, all that stuff. But the ban list is out. I'm at work. I'm in my car in the parking lot, and we're going to try to figure this thing out. I have had one tiny baby spoiler, and that's literally because when they post the ban list, they literally post it with a big picture of like one of the banned cards, and that ban is crazy. So let's get into this thing. Let's start with the ban section. We'll break it down one by one. First on the ban section, Fiend Smith's Lacrima. Whoa. And listen, I had it in my ban list wish list that they do something to the Fiend Smith engine, which, which I put like ban Beatrice. That way, at least it's not like generically, this engine isn't foolish burialing anything in the game. But to hit like a core piece of that engine like Lacrima is insane to me. That's this early on. I mean, bravo to Konami. This is probably overall better even than banning Beatrice for the health of the game. But the fact that they went after the core of that engine, of one of their newest engines this early, is so crazy. This takes away one of the level 6 bodies they're able to get. This takes away their ability to burn. Now this engine does not burn your opponent, which is also really nice. A lot of people hated this card did burn damage. Wow. It never even crossed my mind, honestly, on like how playable the Fiend Smith engine would be with something like this in its core hit. So I don't even know, but the Fiend Smith engine may not even be worth it anymore, at least not splashably, only like maybe in like Fiend based decks maybe. We'll have to wait and see on that. But that's crazy. All right, next up, Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess banned. Cool to see. Honestly, we had talked about this, like a lot of people really wanted Appaloosa and IP banned. No IP here as I'm looking at it. As far as those generic end board pieces, Appaloosa also, another big difference between IP and Oppo is Oppo gives a lot of really flexible decks like the way to beat Nibiru consistently in combo for an archetype that otherwise doesn't have a way to beat Nibiru. So now a lot of those decks lose that, and just putting bodies on the board, getting potentially 3 to 4 negations is probably too much payoff. It's almost like a de facto floodgate, and we talked about that too. So yeah, Appaloosa banned as well. I've never really had the craziest problem with Appaloosa, but I understand it getting banned here. So yeah, another big change. Next up, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. We finally did it. Konami finally realized that with the newest support, Centurion is actually playable enough on their own to not have to rely on Calamity. We've seen Calamity come up in other decks as well. It's always been utilized in a really degenerate fashion, so this is definitely for the best here. Love that. Love that. I always thought that wasn't the most likely one from the hits I wanted to see. And Beatrice also on here. So Beatrice and Lacrima. I almost think like with Lacrima being banned, I'm like, this engine doesn't pump 2 6s on the board quite as well anymore. Do we actually have to care about Beatrice? And maybe generically, like just decks that can put 6s on the board too, being able to use it is still like a problem. But yeah, overall we can kind of move forward with Beatrice off of our worry list. Very cool. All right, that is it for the bans. Those are the 4 bans. I'm trying to think about what else could have been hit. So no Snake Eye hits so far. That's terrifying to me. Hopefully there's some good limits. Let's get to the limit section. Whoa. This limit section is ginormous. Okay, first card, Eva. Eva, whatever. This is a card coming off the list. This is actually quite a significant buff potentially to Drytron. This card basically, I think, says if this card is sent to the graveyard, it adds up to 2 different level 1 light fairies, I think. I actually can't remember exactly how the card works. The card's been gone for quite a bit. That's mostly a Drytron buff. That also could theoretically be a buff to some other fairy decks, but I don't know which ones off the top of my head. Like, is Trickstar able to use it? I don't know. Is Melodious able to use it? Maybe. Oh, the other one that's probably interesting is, what is that? What's that deck called? Voiceless Voice. Those are a handful of decks that I think that card could be interesting for. Okay, here we go. Snake Eye Ash to 1. and Snake Eye Poplar to 1. We might as well talk about these at the exact same time here. Ash and Poplar to 1. Is that enough? It might be. It might be. Now, I know I said I didn't want to see too many like consistency hits for this deck just because like it's kind of stupid to go that route. But hitting Poplar to 1 is actually not just a consistency hit. It's also a grind game hit because it means once you go through your 1 copy of Poplar, that is not a piece you can go back to on later turns, even if you're able to like revive Snake Eye Ash and stuff. So it does hurt the grind game of the deck. Is it enough? I don't think so. Now we'll see if there's any semi-limits or anything like that, but I'm worried looking at this that those 2 aren't fully enough on their own. But we'll see. It's not nothing, and it definitely makes the deck worse than it was before. It also makes the deck way worse to Droll, because they're just not going to hard open Ash anymore, which means if they have to go Bonfire search Ash, they get Drolled already. And now Ash is like so much worse. And now Poplar's dead to get its search, so on and so forth. So this is a good start. I don't think this kills Snake Eye entirely, but the question will be, how good are they now? All right, next up, 2 Gimmick Puppet hits. Gimmick Puppet of Strings and Gimmick Puppet of Dark Strings. Okay, the C40 number 40 and number C40. You're getting a little bit of both there. Okay, that's cool. I'm assuming this is going to turn off the ability to FTK, because I think the whole point was you were able to just keep making more copies of those Exceeds, and just you pop a card, burn your opponent for a bunch of damage. But with only 1 copy of each, you hopefully would not be able to FTK in 1 turn. All good for that. I love that they also didn't just ban 1. They could have maybe banned 1 and left the other or whatever. I like that they just put them to 1, because Gimmick Puppet, for all intents and purposes, like, does some things aside from FTKing. So it could still potentially be a fun rogue strategy. We'll see. Branded Fusion to 1. A lot of people wanted Sanctifier banned. I think this is a slight miss, because I don't think like Branded Fusion's been like power crept enough where like a lot of the game can keep up with what Branded Fusion does when Branded does when it resolves its stuff. But this is a hit nonetheless to a deck that I kind of hoped would get a hit. I'm not going to cry about it. I wish this was just a ban to Sanctifier, because I think the rest of that deck is just fair enough. But sure, it's a consistency hit that we'll take, and it makes them more susceptible to like being Ash and Impermed and Veilered and stuff on cards that can search Branded Fusion, right? Opening of the Spirit Gate. So also a small hit to Yubel, nothing to the like core of Yubel, but a small hit to some of these other engines, right? Because there's an opening of the Spirit Gates. That's the spell, the continuous spell for the Dark Beckoning Beast engine or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. Honestly, I don't know exactly how much this really matters. Like, can that deck find other ways to supplement like missing like normal summon access and whatever? Probably, but we'll have to wait and see. Pot of Prosperity to 1. Whoo! I didn't want to see this hit. I felt like for the last couple formats, like most of the top decks in the game didn't even play Prosperity, so this hit actually hits more rogue decks than it does the rest, but than like the high-end decks in the format. But I get it, like decks having extra access to some of the most heinous things that they shouldn't. I get it. So putting it to 1, I'm not totally against it. I just kind of, because I'm more of a rogue player, and like I realized that most of the best decks in the game weren't playing Prosperity anyway. I was kind of like, why hit it then? But at some point this is probably going to happen. So Prosperity to 1, still totally playable in a handful of strategies, but not crazy. Sangan Summoning to 1. Love this. They did so many of the hits I went over. Of the 7 hits I did, what did we get? We got like Calamity, a hit to Fiendsmith, which was Beatrice, so that's kind of 2. Snake Eye got hit. It wasn't the exact hit I wanted, but it's hit, so we'll count it. Brandy getting hit, which is 4, and Sangan Summoning, which is 5. I can't even remember what the other 2 decks I wanted hit were, but whatever. Anyway, Sangan Summoning, that's really nice. I talked about this before. It's like the Misk treatment. This is a card very similar to Misk in that it gets their engine online, but it also is a card that makes it hard for you to interact with them whatsoever. So I love getting that, so it's not hard openable nearly as often. You have to search it out. That grass looks greener. Huge release on the list. Not huge in terms of how impactful it'll be, but like, I don't know, stuff like Infernoid. Maybe really appreciating that grass looks greener, right? We've seen this in the OCG. I don't think it'll be that impactful at 1. I don't think people are going to come out of the woodworks with crazy, left arm offering grass looks greener decks, especially with Ash just in the game, but still cool. And skill drain to 1 as well. I was kind of scared of this. It's not the end of the world for me, but as somebody who was kind of prospecting the Phantasm Spiral deck with the Primordial Engine, I was kind of like, give me one format with the triple skill drain, because that is a deck that is just not very good anyway. So for my greedy self, for my personal self, I was like, let us get one format with 3 skill drain, Phantasm Spiral with the new stuff. I get it though. This card had been being abused even at the high levels of competitive play. This also is low-key a hit to Runic. Oh, that's one of the things that doesn't have a direct hit here is Runic. But skill drain going to 2 also hits Runic, or going to 1 also hits Runic, taking away one of their better floodgate options. Like that, I think, for the health of the game overall. All right, semi-limits. Oh my God, so many. Okay, this is mostly going to be stuff coming off, I would imagine. Blaster going from, did we already have Blaster at 1? Did we have all these at 1 already? I can't even remember from what last list, but whatever. Blaster to 2, cool, take it off completely. Redox, take it off completely. Tempest, take it off completely. Tidal, take it off completely. I don't care. Honestly, all those can come off. I don't care. Lunalight Tiger also moving from 1 to 2. That's fun. I don't think Lunalight's good enough until it gets like more support. But sure, that's a nice little assist to them. Thunder Dragon Colossus, I'm a little bit scared of, just because the difference between 1 and 2 Colossuses does matter, right? Like 1 Colossus you can out, you can move forward and you can start searching. But with 2 Colossus, it's like you have to have 2 separate outs basically, or 1 out that covers both. It does make it a little scary to kind of match up against two Colossus at the same time. But overall, 1 Colossus hasn't been that big of a deal, so I'm not sure 2 will be either. And then Ib, doesn't matter. The difference between 1 and 2 Ib does not matter. And then for fully released cards here, Armageddon Knight, perfect, doesn't matter. Red Rose Dragon, kind of funny, kind of interesting. I don't know how much it matters, but it's there, that's fine. Magispector Unicorn Kirin, at 1, it's not that different from having 3. Perform H Plush Fire has the errata. Ancient Fairy Dragon has the errata, no problem there. Danglong, same as Ib basically, get it off the list, doesn't matter. And Time Seal, terrible card, honestly, does not matter. All right, so all in all, I'm kind of sitting here and I'm left thinking, like, what was the last card from like the 7 things I really wanted to see hit, or the 7 decks I really wanted to see hit that didn't get touched here? I can't remember, because we have the Hot Red, we have Fiendsmith, which is Beatrice and Lacrima, which is honestly crazy. We have Snake Eye, we have Branded, and we have Tenpai. That leaves us with 2 openings. That's kind of Runic, but Skill Drain's sort of like a small hit to like the Runic stun deck. So we're almost left with 6, and I can't remember what the last deck is that I wanted to see hit in any way. It's not that big of a deal. All right. All things considered, I think it's a pretty good list. I'm glad that it's huge. You know what I mean? We wanted a lot. If they were going to wait 4.5 months, it needed to be big. I'm glad it's big. Is it exactly all the hits we need? I don't know. I'm still kind of scared of Snake Eye. Like, as much as I like some of these other hits, right? Sangan Summoning getting hit. Them actually going after the Fiendsmith Engine really early. The fact that I'm still sitting here looking at Snake Eye and being like, I don't know if this is enough. This was the list that, like, the #1 thing we needed was for Snake Eye to be hit hard enough. I just don't know if this is hard enough yet. Now, to be fair, the OCG also, I don't think has Poplar hit at all. So that is the difference here, is we're going to find out if Poplar being at 1 is a significant enough hit. I don't know. We're going to see. But still really exciting. The format is definitely shaken up in huge ways. I'm very excited to see where people go and where the competitive scene finds itself, because even if Snake Eye isn't gone, it's certainly more manageable to deal with now. So that's what I'm excited to mess around with and see what we can do in the new format. But I'm out of here for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. This to me is probably like an 8 out of 10 ban list. Pretty happy with this, especially since, like, you know, considering how important of a list this is, just for the timing of the game and you know, the format feeling dry for quite a bit. There you go, 8 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts down below on this list overall. What got missed? What could have come off the list that didn't? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts there as well. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching as always. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.